Now we are going to start the books of prime entry and subsidiary books. Now, what are the books of prime entry? Just the initial entering of the transactions, the initial recording of every monetary transaction in the books of accounts through journal. That is the initial book entry, that is prime entry. Now, from where you are going to enter in the books of accounts? Of course, from the source documents. That is, what are the source documents? Bills. If you are purchasing any goods, the other person, your supplier, is going to give you an invoice out of it. So that invoice is your source document, the source of information which is available with you, because of which you have entered this transaction in the books of accounts. This is the source document. The next is journal entry. From the source document, the invoice which is there in front of you, from that invoice, you have entered the journal entry. You have created a journal entry and entered in the books of accounts. That is the primary or you can say prime entry in the books of accounts. The initial recording, which will be the base of everything. Let's say I have entered a journal entry of salary account debit to Mr. Ram. In the salary account, that expense will be recorded, and in Mr. Ram account, that liability will be standing, because we are going to pay Mr. Ram. That is the liability for the business. So for the prime entry purpose, the journal entry is the main thing which should be correct, because journal entry will be the base of every account. Whatever you will put in the journal entry will go in the respective columns. So from where you are going to do the journal entry? From the source documents. If you are having some invoice, only then you are going to add something, right? If you are issuing some invoice to your customers, only then you are going to enter that sale in your account. The verbal things will not be recorded in the books of accounts. So source document is very important for entering anything in the books of accounts. The next is correct classification should be there. As we have already discussed the importance of classification, that classification should be correct. The items which should be a part of your direct income should be entered in the direct income column. The items which should be entered in the indirect income should be the indirect column. The items which should be added to the purchases account should be in the purchases account only. That items which will be related to the direct product in which you are dealing. If you are purchasing some other things for using in your office or anything like that, that should be entered in the expense column. The other things, if you have purchased any asset, that should be added to the balance sheet's asset column. So that classification is very important. The next is, what are the steps involved in the accounting cycle? If we follow the accounting cycle, that okay, fine, we have entered the journal entry in the books of accounts. Now what? What will be the next step? The first is the initial recording of transaction, that is your journal entry. The next is the posting of that journal entry into ledger. Now what is ledger? That is just an account statement. If I am saying that I am having 200 journal entries and affecting only 10 to 15 accounts on the repetitive basis. First entry is salary account debit to Mr. Ram. Then 10th entry is also salary account debit to Mr. Sham. Then 15th entry is also salary account debit to Ms. Sita. Now in salary account, there will be 3 transactions. That salary account, which is a compiled figure, which is the compiled account in which all the transactions in which that salary account is affected, that complete compiled informative account is the ledger account. That account is called ledger account. If we talk about purchases account, we are having multiple purchases. We have purchased from Mr. Ram, we have purchased from Mr. Sham, we have purchased from ABC and Company. We have a lot of purchases with us. Now, if we see the purchases account, that account will reflect the purchase from everybody. From Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, D, E, F, everyone. That is a compiled account. of all the journal entries which you have entered. So that compiled account is the ledger account, which is going to show you the exact figure. Now, if we say that I'm going to check Mr. A's account, ledger account. Okay, fine, Mr. A's transaction, all the transactions of Mr. A and your business will be reflected in that account. So you can of course check the balance out of it, that how much amount you are going to pay now to Mr. Ram or anybody. Let's say from Mr. Ram we have purchased 10 consignments at different point of times. All the 10 consignments will be listed in Mr. Ram's account, and what we have paid to him earlier, that will also be a part of it. Net balance should be there, and that net balance, now we are going to pay that balance only to him. Then we are going to issue a check or pay via cash or any other transaction. Ultimately, whatever journal entries you are entering, that is just a single entry. That is a, you can say, initial recording. So there are hundreds and thousands of recordings every day. So the compiled information of all the recordings is entered in the ledger account. And that ledger account is then first initially recording of journal entries, then posting into ledger account. That if we talk about salary account, all the transactions or the journal entries in which salary account is affected, that will be a part of salary account. This is how the ledger posting is done. The third is preparation of trial balance. If we are having a lot of ledgers, first of all, we are having multiple thousands or multiple accounts, journal entries, out of which we have compiled everything in the ledger accounts. Now we are having less number of accounts, but there are still multiple accounts. Let's say we are having 200 or 300 ledger accounts, having all the thousands and crores of the transactions. Those hundreds of accounts will be compiled in the trial balance. Trial balance is going to show you every account, that Mr. Ram's net balance is this, salaries account net balance is this account net balance is this. These trial balances are going to show you the summary of all the accounts, all the ledger accounts. The summary of all the journal entries will be the ledger accounts. The summary of all the ledger accounts will be the trial balance. And from the trial balance, of course, we are going to prepare our financial statements, because financial statements are the only thing which we need, which is going to be used by everybody, by the businessman as well, by the government as well, by the other shareholders as well, by the other stakeholders as well. Because financial statements are going to give you the complete figure that whether the business is running in profits or in losses. So this is the proper accounting cycle. First of all, you will enter the journal entry. From all the journal entries, the ledger accounts will be prepared. That is the summary of all the journal entries. Then from all the ledger accounts, the trial balance will be prepared, which is the summary of all the ledger accounts. And from the trial balance, of course, financial statements will be prepared so that you could get the exact figure of the information which you are going to expect from the books of accounts. Moving further, you can see the extracts of the books of accounts. I have taken this extract from the accounting entries, the journal entry from the accounting software. You can see the journal entry. Salary account is debited. The amount is entered in the debit column to Rajinder Pal Singh's salary account in the credit column. Why the salary is debited? Because this is our nominal account, salary. Debit all expenses and losses, and salaries are expense. We have debited the salary account. And the person to whom we are going to give the salary, that person will be credited. That is our liability. So this is how the journal entry looks like if we talk about any books of accounts. This is just an extract of journal entry, that's how your journal entries will be reflected in the books. Now this is the ledger account, the salary account. To salary of April month 75,000, salary of April 1,06,000, all the salary transactions. That means we have done these multiple journal entries in which salary account was affected. So all the summarization of all the journal entries is included in the salary account. This is how the ledger account will be reflected. You can see the net balance is 22,11,000 debit. And salary account is our expense. Of course, salary, all the expenses and losses are debited. And that will be the part of our profit and loss account. So this is how the ledger account will be reflected. That is a summary of all the journal entries which you have entered under this head. The next is the trial balance. You can see this trial balance. This is a summary of all the ledger accounts. You can see capital balance, debit. Then cash balance is also there, 11,56,000. Then current liabilities balance is there, direct incomes balance is there, direct expenses are there, fixed assets total balance is there, the P&L expenses total balance, prepaid expenses total balance, purchases total balance. So you can see all the ledger accounts which are there in your books of accounts, the summary of all the ledger accounts is there in the trial balance. This is the trial balance. Now we will see later on the financial statements as well, which are prepared from these trial balances. Now if we talk about subsidiary books. Now what are subsidiary books? These are just the, you can say, bifurcation of the normal books of accounts. If we talk about the ledger, there are multiple ledgers. There are multiple accounts. But if we talk about subsidiary books, what are the subsidiary books? Just the bifurcation of all the entries. If we talk about purchases day book, all the purchases from all the parties will be entered in the purchases book. If we talk about sales book, all the sales will be a part of the sales book to everybody, to all the customers. If we talk about the bills receivable or bills payable book, bills receivable book, that means every bills receivable, every balance of your customers from whom you are going to receive something will be entered in the bills receivable book. Cash book, all the transactions which you have incurred during the year in which cash is involved will be a part of cash book. So this is not something different or something which is prepared extra. No, that is just the different bifurcation of the books of accounts. All the purchases from multiple persons will be a part of purchases book. All the sales from to multiple persons will be a part of sales book. All the bank entries will be a part of bank book. So these are just the other books which you can say are prepared. Not prepared, these are just the you can say categorization of books. That you have entered everything in the books of accounts, all the journal are prepared, all the ledger accounts are prepared. And out of that ledger, you need to get some information which is required for your decision making. So at that point of time, you need compiled information. That I need to check the, let's suppose, you are going to do valuation of your closing stock and you want to get the purchase, the complete purchase account. You can get the purchase book as well. You can take the purchase account as well. You can take purchase book as well. Purchase book will be having some detailed figures. That the stock entries which are purchased will also be a part of it. Everything will be there. In the purchase account, that will be a different kind of account. But that is not a books which are separately prepared. These are just the extracts of the different kinds of extracts. Just you can say the filtration of books of accounts as per the need. If I need purchases day book, that will filter all the books of accounts and give you all the entries of the purchases. So this is just the subsidiary books. Of course, these are useful at the time of valuation and your decision making as well. Now this is the cash book. This is the extract of books cash book. You can see all the transactions in which cash was involved. These are just the part of cash book. The first is Arshdeep Transport Company 10,000 Bull plus Polyfalls something 1560 rupees. All the transactions in which cash was involved will be a part of cash book. But there are different cash books as well, that is double column cash book or triple column cash book. These are the cash books in which the different types of transactions will be there. Like in this case, in the normal cash book, you will get only those transactions in which cash was involved. In the cash book with triple column, in the all the transactions which are on the credit basis as well. Let's say I have purchased something from Mr. Ram on credit basis. Cash was not a part of it, but still that will be a part of cash book. That will be called as day book as well. So in day book, all the transactions on date wise will be there with you. So these are just the filtration of books of accounts. These can be very informative for you at the time of doing something or at the time of decision making. If you want to take the complete and compiled information, these accounts, these books will be beneficial for you. Now if we see the sales register, you can see all the sales from the multiple parties to the multiple parties are reflected over here. There is nothing new thing in this. This is just the extract, the complete compilation of all the sales in one account. That is the sales register. Now the point is ledgers. Now there are different types of ledgers. These are again just the categorization of ledgers. The first is personal ledger, in which persons are involved, your debtors or creditors. The second are impersonal ledgers, in which the persons are not involved. Because if we talk about persons, who are the persons? From whom we are purchasing something or to whom we are selling something. These are the persons. Personal ledger is different and impersonal ledger is different. All the persons, that is debtors and creditors, are a part of personal ledger, and the other cash book or the general ledger will be a part of impersonal ledger. Basically, there are a lot of ledgers of your books of accounts. This is just the bifurcation. That is not useful for valuation or any other purpose, but that is just for understanding purpose that yes, there are two types of ledgers. That is, first is personal ledger, in which all the persons are involved. Debtors or creditors, from whom you are going to take something or to whom you are going to pay something for the goods they have supplied. And in the impersonal ledger, all the other accounts, all the other ledgers in which any person is not involved, these are the impersonal ledgers, and there are two categorizations. That is, first is cash book and the second is general ledger. The other general accounts will be in the general ledger. So these are the two types of ledgers. Now the trial balance. This is just a summary of ledger accounts. What is the benefit of trial balance if any account is having any error? Let's suppose you have entered any entry wrongly. In the debit aspect, you have entered 1 lakh rupees. In the credit aspect, by mistake, you have entered only 10,000 rupees. So these kind of errors will be detected in the trial balance, because trial balance is going to give you the, you can say, exact figures of all the ledger accounts. So if your journal entry is wrong, of course your ledger will be wrong. And your ledger is wrong, then your trial balance will also be wrong. And if the trial balance is not matching, this is the indication that something is wrong and you need to check it. And of course, in case you are preparing the books of accounts in the accounting software, these errors are not going to come, because at the time of doing journal entry, if you are entering something, you have entered 1 lakh in debit column and 10,000 in credit column, the system will give you some errors that your transaction will not be saved. So at that time, the errors will be avoided if you are preparing the books of accounts on the systems, on the computers. But of course, if you are doing manually, so these kind of manual mistakes are possible. So all these mistakes will be detected in the trial balance. That will help in the preparation of final accounts, that is financial statements, which are the ultimate statements which will help you to get the figures, get the desired figures. Now the trading and profit and loss account. If we talk about financial statements, trading and profit and loss account is the a part of financial statement, or you can say income and expenditure account in case of trust or any other organizations. So basically, what the trading and profit and loss account is going to show, all the transactions which you have done in the whole year, in which some incomes or expenses are involved, which belongs to that particular year, calculating your profitability, that what you have earned or what you have lost, that will be included in the trading and profit and loss account. If we talk about the second thing, that is the balance sheet. What is balance sheet? That will show you the position of your business. That if I'm saying I'm running a business, then what is the position of your business, where your business is standing? What are the assets of your business? What are the things you are having? The assets, the long-term assets of your business. And how the long-term assets are funded. From where you have got the money. From banks or from the owner's capital. Or you have taken some goods on credit basis. What your assets are, what your liabilities are. That is the position of business on a particular date. If we talk about profit and loss account, that is the profitability of the business for the whole year. That during the whole year, what you have earned, what you have lost. All the incomes will be recorded, all the expenses will also be recorded. And if we talk about balance sheet, that will be the position of the business on a particular date. That is not going to show you the whole year's picture. That is just showing you on 31st March or on 30th September or any date. On that particular date, what your business was having or what the business was, what are the liabilities of the business. So if we talk about the profit and loss account, there are two sides, that is left and right. Of course, we know that. One is expenses and one is income. We have checked in the rules of accounts that in case of expenses and losses, these are the nominal accounts. Debit all expenses and losses and credit all incomes and gains. In the profit and loss account, left side is debit side and right side is income side. So all the expenses, debit all expenses and losses, that should be entered on the left side of profit and loss account. Credit all incomes and gains, that should be entered in the right side of the profit and loss account. And what the profit and loss account is reflecting? The incomes and expenses of the whole year. Whatever you have earned in the year, whatever you have expended in that year. This account will show you the profitability of the business. That what are the incomes, what are the expenses, what the business has earned on net basis. Moving further on the balance sheet. If you see the balance sheet, the asset side and the liability side, right side is the asset side, left side is the liability side, and the asset side is debit side and the liability side is credit side. This is the set format, you need to just grab it to understand this properly. If any asset is there in the business, if I'm having any car, if I'm having any machine, if I'm having any stock, that is my asset. That is my business asset, which is going to continue for the long duration of time with me, at least beyond this year. So on the particular date, whatever assets I'm having, that will be included in the balance sheet's asset side. And whatever liabilities I'm having, let's say I have to pay 20 lakhs to the bank, that is a loan. That will be on the credit side, liability side. I need to pay 50 lakhs to the creditors, total amount. Total 50 lakhs to all the creditors, not to one person, to all the creditors there is a balance of 50 lakhs. That means if I'm saying that I'm having a stock of 1 crore and I'm having creditors of 50 lakhs, that means my 50% stock is on credit. That is a general meaning, general understanding. Without checking anything, you can just understand these things from the financials which are there in front of you. If you are having the debtors of, you can say, let's say I'm having debtors of 20 lakhs. What are the debtors? The person, your customers from whom you are still having some balances that you need to collect that from your customers. If my sale is 1 CR and 20 lakhs is my debtors, that means 20% of my sales of the whole year is still on credit. So these kind of analysis can be done from the financial statements when all the accounts are summarized in front of you. So this is the set of balance sheet that is on the particular date. On the particular date, on 31st of March or any other date on which you are preparing the balance sheet, that on that particular date, how much assets you are having and how much liabilities you are having. You, that means your business is having. If we look at this trading and profit and loss account, just have a look on this. We have discussed that this will reflect the incomes and expenses of the whole year. And the incomes will be reflected on the credit side, credit all incomes and gains. And right side is the credit side. We have sales. We have this freight or other incomes which we have received on indirect basis. We are having everything. On the left side, we are having all the expenses. That is purchases account is there, consumable stores is there, freight, that is transportation expenses, that is also there, job work charges are there, workshop expenses, wages, everything is there. Now, what are the differences between these two accounts? Why there is a line of differentiation? Because one is trading account and the other is profit and loss account. All the expenses which are required for manufacturing your product in which you are dealing, that will be a part of trading account. And that profit, that is, you can see the gross profit. That profit is your gross margin on the products. Now let's take up an example for this. Let's say I'm a hand tools manufacturer. I have purchased iron. I have paid the transportation charges of purchasing that iron. Now my labor is working on that iron and preparing some goods. Then you can say some tools are used in my factory site. Like some hammers are used or some cutters are used on my factory site for preparation of the final product. Or you can say the firewood is used, the electricity is used in the factory for preparing the products, for running the machines. That is my cost for preparing that product. For preparing that product, all the costs incurred. That is the cost of that product which we are going to sell, which is called as cost of goods sold. If I'm selling 10 units of hand tools and I'm just calculating that what is the cost of manufacturing those 10 units. I have not taken any cost of sales executives. I have not taken any cost of office expenses. I have not taken any cost of any office staff members, because if you are going to sell something, of course you are not going to give any product to anyone. Sales team is working, your marketing team is working, your operational team is working, that when you're selling some goods, proper invoices are going to that customer. There are a lot of expenses in the business, but we are not taking these expenses in that trading account, in that cost of goods sold account. Why? Because no doubt these expenses are also related to our sales, our business, but that expenses are not related to the manufacturing of the product. We are calculating the gross margin. That means when you are selling a product, what is the gross margin of that product? If I'm selling a product for 100 rupees, that product is manufactured and all the costs are summarized to be 80 rupees on that product. That means my gross margin is 20 rupees on that particular product. So all the cost of goods sold will be having all the costs which are incurred for making that product on the at the stage of selling, not sold, at the stage of selling, at the condition of selling. So all the accounts, all the expenses which are in your factory site, which are incurred for the manufacture of the product. If you are not going to incur these expenses, your product will not be manufactured at all. Then what will you sell? So that product will be, you can say that those expenses will be a part of your trading account. And you will get the gross profit. Now, what is gross profit ratio? Which is very important when you will go for valuation of any business or stock of that business. Gross profit ratio will be GP ratio, which you can say will be there in front of you. What is GP ratio? Your gross profit margin divided by your sales. In this case, 3,22,000, 32,21,000, 21,476 divided by 80,53,690, your sales. This percentage is your gross profit margin. This means that from sales which we are selling, how much margin we are having. We are having the margin of 20% or 30%. That will be calculated like this. And if we talk about the next, the profit and loss account, all the expenses of the business, whether it's related to the sales, whether it's related to traveling, whether it's related to your salary, your office expenses, your postage expenses, your printing and stationery, every other expense which is not on the product's manufacturing, that will be a part of profit and loss account. You can see here advertisement expenses, car running and maintenance expenses, bad debts, bank charges, bank loans, interest and charges. Then charity and donation if you have done any charity. The commission, the computer expenses, director's remuneration, electricity and water expenses, other you can say freight outwards, interest on TDS, TCS, packing expenses, postage expenses, everything is a part of profit and loss account. And if we see the net amount, 2,43,896 out of the whole working of the year, the whole of the incomes and the whole of the expenses, we have earned 2,43,896 rupees. This is our net profit. This is required by the businessman, by the stakeholders, by the government, by everyone. So this is the financial statement, that is profit and loss account. Profit and loss account and the balance sheet. Balance sheet will show you the position of your business, but profit and loss account will show you the profitability of the business which you have earned during that year. That is why there is, you can say, wording for the year ending 31st March 2020. For the year ending, that means for the whole year, not at a particular date. But if we see this balance sheet, that is as on 31st March, balance sheet as on. That means on a particular date, this is the situation of your business. That is your assets and your liabilities. What are the assets? Fixed assets as per Schedule A, or you can write all the assets on the face of the balance sheet. That is your car, your machines, your any other assets. Then current assets, your stock, your debtors. Stock, that means the goods which you are having right now on the 31st March of that year. Or your debtors, that means the persons from whom you are going to take something. Then the other assets, loans and advances, if you have given any loan to any other person, then that is your asset. You are going to recover that in the near future. Other current assets. On the liability side, you can see the secured loans which you have taken from bank. Unsecured loans, that means your loans which you have taken from any of your relative or any other person who have not taken any security from you. Then the current liabilities, which you are going to pay in the near future, within coming 1 year time. Your sundry creditors, that means the suppliers from whom you have purchased the goods. Then bank CC account, you have taken the cash credit limits from the bank. The other liabilities and everything is mentioned in that account. Now if we see that we are having stock of 29 lakhs and we are having creditors of 70 lakhs. What is it? So you should just see these kind of things. That your stock is 29 lakhs, which is lying here with you, and you are having creditors of 70 lakhs 29,000. That means the stock which you have already sold, that stock's amount is yet to be given to the suppliers. Let's say I have purchased 100 pieces at the rate of 10,000 and I have already sold those 100 pieces, and still I have taken the amount from my customers and have not paid to my creditors. So that is the liability. That is the alarming point for you. The next is capital. That means if a businessman is running a business, of course he is putting all of his efforts into that business. Of course, business needs to pay something to him. So all the profits, all the capital which he have invested, the business is yet to pay back to that businessman. The amount which this business needs to pay back to the businessman is 28 lakh 7,000. So this was your financial statements, the profit and loss account and the balance sheet. So this was all about the books of accounts, that what the books of accounts are, what you need to do. If we just summarize everything, summarize the books of accounts, what is this? We are just maintaining the books of accounts for the purpose of our further examination, for our further decision making, for getting the information that whether we are earning something or we are losing something, or for giving the information to government as well, to the stakeholders as well, that what the business financials show. And these financials will be helpful for the businessman for taking relevant decisions, like whether they want to continue the business or they want to shut the business, or they should continue with a particular product, or they should shut down that particular product. All these things, all these relevant decisions will be taken by the businessman. And how the books of accounts are maintained? First of all, the journal entry is entered in the books of accounts. There are two aspects, debit and credit of the journal entry. Journal entry will be entered. That journal entry will be posted in the ledger account. If we are having lakhs of journal entries, all the journal entries are having the accounts repetitively. Salary account is there in 500 entries. The Mr. A account is reflected in 20 of entries. So all the summarization of the journal entries will be reflected in the ledger account. And all the ledgers will be summarized in the trial balance, so that to check that whether any mistakes are there or not. and from the trial balance you will prepare the financial statements, which will be ultimately helpful for taking the decisions or for all the compliances which are required by the government. Because if we talk about any business, there are a lot of compliances, that is, some GST returns are there, TDS returns are there, this, that, a lot of things are there from the government side as well. And if you are not punctual or you are not particular on those compliances, government is going to kick your business out. You're not going to run any business for that. So all these things are very important and very useful for the businesses, the accounting and bookkeeping. And of course, for valuation purpose, when you are going to value a business, you need to check that whether the books of accounts are proper, whether the financial statements are giving the correct information or not. For that, you may just check the ledgers thoroughly, or you can just check the journal entries that whether they are proper or not. You can check the proper classification as well. So all these things will be helpful at the time of valuation of any business, the accounting portion. So the next will be the costing of the products, that will be covered in the next part. Thank you very much.